Most of my clients have the same light bulb moment when we start working together. Wait, I didn't even notice the way my home is set up was making that habit harder. And it's true, your environment has such a strong influence on your behaviors. Even the little things we see around us all day are quietly shaping our behavior. I call these things visible cues, and our homes are full of them. Once you realize how much visible cues in your environment influence what you do, you can start using them to your advantage. In case you're new here, I'm Dr. Kelly Cosgrove, and I help overwhelmed people build consistent, healthy routines by combining science-backed strategies with home organization. Let's get into it. In this video, you'll learn what visible cues are and how they trigger your habits without you realizing it, real-life examples of environmental cues that may be sabotaging your progress, and practical strategies to use cues intentionally so you can build the habits you want without relying on motivation. First, let's talk about what visible cues are and why they matter. Visible cues are things in your environment that trigger automatic behaviors. Think of them as gentle nudges or sometimes not so gentle shoves toward a specific action. Behavioral scientists call this the cue in the habit loop. A habit loop goes like this: cue, action, reward. And because cues start the whole loop, they're one of the most powerful ways to influence your habits. The best part? You don't need more motivation or discipline to make changes when you focus on cues. You just need to be more intentional about your cues. Let's look at how this works in everyday life. If you leave your phone on your nightstand, it becomes a visible cue to check your notifications, whether it's 2 a.m. or the moment you wake up in the morning. If there's a chair in your bedroom that's already got a few items of clothing on it, it cues you to just toss more on the pile. Before you know it, that chair has disappeared entirely under a mountain of laundry. If you keep snacks on the counter, you're more likely to grab something every time you walk by, even if you're not hungry. These are just a few examples of how your environment prompts actions on autopilot. The good news? Once you become aware of these cues, you can make simple changes that have a big impact. First, you'll want to identify the cues that are sabotaging you. Most people focus on trying to break bad habits by using willpower, but it's way more effective to just identify the cues that are triggering the habit in the first place and cut them off. Ask yourself, when do I usually do the habit I'm trying to change? What's in my environment at that moment? What do I see, hear, or touch just before it happens? Once you've identified the cue, see if you can change it or remove it completely. For example, move your phone off your nightstand so it's not the first thing you see in the morning. Store treats in an opaque container on the top shelf of a cabinet. Replace your laundry chair with a small side table and a plant so that the cue disappears. The goal is to disrupt the loop before it starts. But cues don't just trigger bad habits. They can also help reinforce good ones. You can design your environment to prompt the behaviors you want to do. Want to drink more water? Keep a full glass or bottle in plain view on your desk or the kitchen counter. Want to stretch in the morning? Set your yoga mat out the night before where you'll see it in the morning. Want to take your vitamins consistently? Place the bottle right next to your coffee maker or toothbrush. The easier a behavior is to remember and start, the more likely it is to become a habit. And visible cues help you bypass the decision fatigue and just get going. Now that you understand how powerful cues can be, let's look at how you can take it even further by designing your physical space around your goals. Create zones in your home that act as cues for the behaviors you want to build. For example, a calm bedtime zone with dim lighting, a journal, and your favorite book to cue winding down. A morning movement zone with workout shoes and a mat that cues you to stretch or do a few squats. A tea station with everything you need in one spot to cue a soothing break during a stressful afternoon. You don't need a massive makeover. Just a few intentional placements can make a big difference. I hope by now I've made it super obvious that you don't need to feel motivated all the time to build better habits. You just need to design an environment that nudges you in the right direction. So here's what I want you to do next. Look around your home and identify one cue that's triggering a habit you're trying to change. Then, find one way to remove the cue or make it less effective. After that, choose one behavior you want to do more consistently and add a visible cue that reminds you to do it. If you want to dive deeper into how your space affects your behavior, I've got another video called How to Organize Your Kitchen to Make Healthy Eating the Default. It's a perfect next step if you're working on healthier habits and want to make them easier to stick with. I'll link it here on the screen and in the description below.